Okay, the NIDO chairman is ready to talk to us. Atumba, I'll give you all the chance in this world. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Doctor.
Yeah, please tell us.
Your program again.
Thank you very much. Tell us your name and where you are calling from.
Kenneth Gbandi is my name. I'm the chairperson of a Nigerian Diaspora Organization. I'm calling in from Hamburg, Germany.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your calling. Can you expand on what Godson has said, this national identity number, and why was it given to NIDO? Why was it not done, or is it not done by the Nigeria High Commission?
Well, as you know, the National Identity Commission Management or National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, is a statutory organization in Nigeria empowered to register all Nigerians. And so NIMC, just like every other commission, have the mandate to register Nigerians. Now, what we have noticed in the past, like I've been on your programs and we've discussed that, each time we mention about diaspora voting, they say, we don't know how many people, I don't know how many are you are living in diaspora and who is living who. So they always tie the idea of data management and knowing who is who in Nigeria to the issue of diaspora voting. That is one. And secondly, we also have the issue of the BVN, like you know, where most people have to travel outside their localities to go and register for the BVN, and otherwise you have to travel to Nigeria to go and get that. Coming from those experiences, we believe that we could also have a united diaspora initiative where such services are offered in the diaspora, and then we should be able to do the registration. Now, the difference is that while the commission responsible for that is NIMC, they were able to come. Let me say that for the benefit of doubt, with all responsibility, that NIDO Europe, my former chairman, George Mabike, and group of very smart diasporans came together and proposed to NIMC that yes, we will be able to run our own diaspora registration, backing this initiative out. And in the last 3 years, in fact, I came to meet that before I was elected as the chairperson of NIDO Europe, and I followed up with NIMC, the NIMC organization, and eventually we were able to have this MOU to register the Nigerian diaspora. Unfortunately, like everything in Nigeria, it was actually supposed to be a one single institution running that, which is a BioSec in collaboration with NIDO. But I realized that the magnitude of that project is done on the federal government, and they said that, it's not something that they will leave in the hand of one organization. So they end up, as of today, giving license to 5 vendors. Of course, we have about 7 vendors that applied for that, but eventually only 5 vendors were allowed to do that. That's where we are now. And of course, one of our vendors, actually the original or the originality of that initiative is BioSec, and BioSec is one of the vendors empowered to do this registration.
And why are we paying $50?
Very good question. Now, let us make it very, very clear that we say that if you want to go to Nigeria and register for free of charge, you are very, very much welcome to do that. And as a matter of fact, anybody is free to decide whether you want to register here in diaspora or you want to go to Nigeria. One of the things we have done, permit me if I'm wrong, but we always say in the diaspora that most diaspora are willing to pay an extra 10 kobo to get the quality services they deserve. I'll give you a very good example. By the BVN issues, most people in Germany, in Sweden, in Netherlands, no, not Netherlands, not inclusive, but most of those people in continental Europe, they have only a center in UK and in Netherlands. Most people have to travel from any of these continental European countries to go there and register for their BVN, pay 40 euro, pay transportation, and sometimes pay hotel accommodation. And they spend between 100 and 150 euro. And we said that if we could do that for our localities, people in Manchester, people in UK, people in Newcastle, for a very small fee, where we can be able to bring the services down to those people, I am convinced, I might be wrong, but we are convinced that some individuals are willing to part with $50 and to make sure that such services and such convenience is available to them. Again, like I said, it's not mandatory for individuals who said, no, this 50 euro is too much for me, I cannot do that. They have the options to register somewhere other place in Nigeria and for free of charge.
One pertinent question: what is the use of this number, this national? It's not an identity card, because the identity card assumes that you will identify the person as a Nigerian. It's just a number. What is the use of it for me as a person?
Well, one of the arguments I also asked the chairman of the director, the DG of NIMC. Most people complain, and rightly so also, that they registered for this number since 3 years ago and they've not gotten their card in Nigeria. And so when I was discussing with the DG, He notes something very important. That when you go to America, we have American, these were what we call the green card numbers, or the and even in Germany, if you look at your you have what we call the social security number. This social security number is much valid, and I think in most of the European countries they also have the same system. It's much valid than even your passport as per se, because these social security numbers identify who you are, and every other data is tied to this social security number. And I think that is the understanding I have, and that's what Nigerians are trying to do. When you are assigned a security number or national ID number, your passport, your ID number, your registration number, your voting number will be tied to this number. And that is why the federal government is making it mandatory that starting from sometimes this year and next year and going forward, if you don't have this this number, sorry, not social security number, if you don't have this national ID number, you will not access most of these government services. So they want to, this number is supposed to be like a super identification number, which every Nigerian, once you have it, you take this number until death. And once the person dies, this number is also eradicated from the system. So which means it's a unique number attached to every Nigerian, and it's going to be only one and such unique number. That is what I understood from that. That's the explanation they gave me.
One more question. How do you know who a Nigerian is when they come to apply for this number? For instance, there are many Togolese and Beninois and Ghanaians looking like Nigerians, and they may mention their name. So how do you identify that he's not a Nigerian?
Well, just like the same issue you ask yourself, how do you get a Nigerian passport? There are criteria laid down for you to get a Nigerian passport. If you want to get a Nigerian passport, you have to get a birth certificate, you have to get a court affidavit, you have to get and so forth and so on. I think there are criteria that for you to get this number, you have to come with any of the identity cards being recognized in Nigeria. They include a driving license, they include the national voters card, they include a death certificate and the rest of it. I think these are part of
you know that most of us are living outside of Nigeria. We don't have all those things, the birth certificate and all those. Some of us don't even have, we don't carry Nigerian passports. So we have a British passport or European passport. So how do we handle that?
Well, I think I followed the first section of the debate and the second section. And I think the issue of nationality is probably something that we need to also revisit. One of your callers mentioned about nationality at birth, or nationality I think it is at birth, exactly. Thank you for that. So I think these are the issues we also need to clarify, because the risk still remain. The risk still remain that there can be also these loopholes which people will take advantage of. One of the things we have to do in the diaspora, which is what NIDO is trying to also do, to say that if somebody is carrying out a different nationality and you are living in Nigeria and you could be identified by the Nigerian community, by the High Commission for being a Nigerian or to be a Nigerian. And I think these are the issues we are going to impress on the National Identity Management Commission, NUC, that should also serve as a means of identification that the person is in Nigeria. Again, like I said, I don't think it's a foolproof, but at least that's the best we have for now.
Okay, one more question before I throw. Please don't go away. I will allow my colleagues to say something, and then we will ask Nigerians listening to you to phone. One last question from me. How about the second and third generation of Nigerians? I have a daughter married to a European, and she has a child of her own, and that child wants to be a Nigerian. And I mean, how do you now, is there any law against second and third generations of Nigerians living abroad?
Well, Doctor, honestly speaking, I will be interested in getting an answer for that.
Okay.
Again, like you know, I'm one of us or one of you in the diaspora, trying to also get exactly what you're trying to get, and that's why part of the conference we're holding in Netherlands. These are the issues we want to discuss. What happens to our third and second generation? Again, one of the panelists actually made that observation, which I find absolutely very, very important. What happens to my daughter? If I have a daughter and she said giving birth in Germany, is she a Nigerian? Will she be allowed to be a Nigerian, or how do we classify my daughter? So I think these are pertinent questions that we in the diaspora need to ask and get an answer from. And but again, like I said, it's a project that we need to engage on, and we have to say exactly what are the difficulties and the troubleshooting, so to say, and say exactly how we can go about it. That's my opinion.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kenneth. Please don't go. My colleague Otumba wants to contribute.
Hello, Honorable. Two questions in one. This exercise, how is it going to help the biggest problem we have in Nigeria, the issue of statistics and census? How well is this going to, and also, very importantly, Is this also exercise going to help us get a vote in another 4 years?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, when I was in the program last year, and I don't want to take us through the memory lane, we fought gallantly to have the Diaspora Commission. And then part of the idea is that the Diaspora Commission will help to galvanize the issue of diaspora voting. And so, yes, I totally agree with you. In fact, as a matter of fact, I think the diaspora should not accept anything less than voting rights in 2023. We must do that, and I think I'm ready to also join my compatriots who wants to join you to make sure that by 2023 that we are going to vote. So yes, I think that the statistics is going to be, because that's actually one of the arguments they keep making. We don't know who is a Nigerian, we don't know who is who, we can't allow anybody to just go and vote. So that statistic is very, very pertinent and very, very important to that cause. That's number one. Secondly, economically, we have a lot of professors, a lot of engineers, a lot of professionals in the diaspora. They keep telling us they don't know who is doing what. So we want to eventually at the end of the day say we have about 16 engineers, 3,000 doctors in UK. This is where they are. This is where we can get them. And so we will at least let us do our part, not to give them the excuse to keep on giving excuses on behalf of the diaspora. So I absolutely agree with you that this registration will help to address those two cases you mentioned.
And census that we don't have.
Okay, please.
And that's part of the registration, because that's a census. It's going to be a census of how many Nigerians are in the diaspora. We say it's the first diaspora day I had in Nigeria, which is about 2013, 2014, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have the vice president, the vice president of the federation, Dr. Namani, and he was saying that not Dr. Naman, sorry, I'm mixing up the name, Dr. Sabu, exactly. And so he was saying that we have 17 million Nigerians in the diaspora. Unfortunately, almost 4 or 5 years after, or 6 years after, the federal government is still quoting the same source, that we are still 17 million. I asked myself, are we going back or are we going forward? So definitely, I'm of the opinion that we are about 22 to 23 million Nigerians in the diaspora. So this part of census or this part of registration is going to help us to at least once and for all define, at least if not comprehensively, the estimation of how many people we are in diaspora.
Okay, and those Nigerians in diaspora who are yet to regularize their papers or even are now floating as illegal immigrants, are you going to accept them, or is it right for them to register, and will that not be a place to nab them or something?
No, I think Azum mentioned that already. One of the arguments we had, I think I also made that argument when I was in your program. The idea of having a vendor who will operate outside the embassy is also to avoid this issue of, well, I'm not sure if I give my data out that my data will be given to the government of the country where I'm residing, and that might be a kind of an issue. As long as we have to abide by the federal government regulation, as long as you're a Nigerian, whether here legally or illegally, and you can prove with your birth certificate, with whatever means that you are a Nigerian, and you have those documents as required by NIMSI and the federal government, I don't see any reason why we should not register you. That's my view. So as long as you're a Nigerian and you have those certificates, I mean, your documents in Nigeria does not necessarily need to be recognized by the British government or the German government for you to be seen as a Nigerian. So once you have this, which of course actually brings us back to the issue of nationality. Once you are by Nigerian by birth, if you want to use that definition, and you can prove that anywhere in the world, you're a Nigerian.
Well, there are problems that we may not be able to finish here at this discussion, because most illegal immigrants who have outstayed their welcome because of their visa don't even want to say that I'm from Nigeria, I'm from Ghana, so that they are not automatically deported. So they are like, you don't have yes, they are stateless, and so there will be a challenge there. It will be a way to corner them. But then listen to this email. You may want to address what I'm about to read. It's written by a Nigerian, Cyril Wosu, and he says, I will ask all Nigerians to ignore any registration of personal information if it's not from the Nigeria High Commission. Any information required is already available in Nigeria. People have BVNs and passports. Giving your identities to various organizations you don't know is very dangerous and illegal. This is exercise in futile. NIDO should campaign to have a central database in Nigeria and not waste their time gathering another identity. This is not by me. This is what will you say to this person?
Well, the question is legitimate. The concern is correct, but maybe the technicalities he might not understand. Now, we have 5 vendors licensed. These 5 vendors do not store your data. The only person that stores your data is NIMC, who is by law allowed to store the data. So they have a back end. So they are just using them as a vehicle. But once you're doing your registration, it is stored at the back end of NIMC. So none of those vendors are keeping your data but NIMC. Again, if you want to also address what he's trying to, we want to have diaspora registration, and we say we have data in Nigeria. You just mentioned that I have my kids. We have 2-3 generations here who also are living here, who probably might not be able to go to Nigeria. So are you telling them they don't have the right to vote? You see, we can't get it all. We can't have it all. There must be a process. And so you cannot say at the same time you want to vote, you want to be recognized, you want to know how many people there are, and you're saying no, if you want to have any data, go to Nigeria and do it. Of course, we can also do it in Nigeria. But it also means that we all have to go back. The 20 million Nigerians in diaspora, we have to go back to Nigeria and register, or we have to go through our different embassies. With due respect to all our embassies, they have their hands over their food. I had one of the panelists talking about probably measures some of our embassies because they are not able to probably operate at a maximum capacity due to probably technicalities, finance or otherwise, which I don't want to go into that. So when we're having that issues and you want to bring in another problem to compound the problem they already have, I can tell you categorically that some of the embassies are owing their staffs. They have not been able to pay their staffs sometimes for probably 1 or 2 months. They don't have enough resources to run the embassy, and you want to bring another problem to add to them, and yet we want to get the statistics of people in diaspora. My doctor, we can't eat our cake and have it. We just have to take a decision to move things forward. And when we get to that problem, when we have such problems, we have to address it.
Okay. We are going to leave it at this, but please continue watching the show because we may still call you in before. Okay, because people will now email us and they may call us while you are off the air, and it's important that you still give clarity. Why is this legitimacy not given from the Nigeria Commission website?
Well, as a matter of fact, if you look at the different High Commission, or if you look at all the vendors, they have the logo of NIMC there. As a matter of fact, we have like the Nido France chapter, Nido Greece chapter, Nido Russian chapter. They're actually working with their High Commission. They are not doing differently. And as a matter of fact, we have actually written a letter to our High Commission in UK, and they actually wanted to visit him also to introduce one of the vendors. Any of those vendors, they are legitimately allowed to come to High Commission like any other of the vendors and work. So I think probably in the next few days, I'm sure you're going to have that in the website of the High Commission.
There is a question that came in from the email. Are we going to be able to use this identity card to travel to Nigeria if our passport is expired, lost, or stolen?
Good question. As a matter of fact, these are also the questions we should be asking the federal government and NIMC. Like again, NIDO is just a facilitator, a vehicle to make sure that we are not being, taken out of this equation. But these are the legitimate questions that we want to also be asking in our summit in Netherlands. We want to ask those legitimate questions that the panelists are asking, that those Nigerians are asking, and we'll collect the answers and we'll expect the answer from the federal government.
Tell us something about this Netherlands summit. Where is it taking place? What time? Who are those expected to be there? I mean, anybody from the Nigerian government? What is this Netherlands summit? Tell us something about it.
Well, I think we started by our first summit in the UK. The first summit in UK, where we looked at the issue of the diaspora voting, the issue of the good governance in Nigeria, the issue of these diaspora enrollments we're talking about. As a matter of fact, the official flag up of the diaspora operation took place in UK during one of the summits. So these are the issues we are addressing. So it's a follow up to the summit in the conference in UK, where we want to examine what have we been able to achieve between last year and this year, which are the issues that we discussed that has been implemented. And one of the issues that is being implemented is the diaspora registration. And core on the agenda in the Netherlands Summit is also diaspora voting 2023. And also, with all the services we're having from this registration, what can we do with that? And of course, the issue of good governance, the issue of diaspora commission, which has now been given to the diaspora, in quote, and want to know how do we populate this commission. We have people like our daddy Otumba here, who have had a lot of experience, 43 years if I can remember correctly, 49 years. So these are the individuals who want to be in the diaspora commission to share their experiences with us. So if we don't organize ourselves, like somebody saying we should forget all these data, how do we engage the government? So we want to engage them from 25th to 27th in Netherlands. We're expecting Honorable Abike Dabiri, the designated diaspora MD, Chairperson Diaspora Commission and the SSA to the President on Diaspora Affairs. She has confirmed to be there. We're expecting the Nigerian ambassadors across Europe in various of our mission. We're expecting the business community. We're going to set up about 5 committees, which is going to cut across NIDO. It's going to be a committee of Nigerian stakeholders, where we're going to be addressing the issue of migration. We discussed the issue of South Africa and Nigeria. Why is it that we're having such issues in Nigeria? What our government doing, or is our government doing? These are the issues we need to address. So we're addressing the 5 main issues: diaspora commission, diaspora registration, migration, as well as the Nigerian voting right for 2023. So this is exactly what the conference or the summit will be addressing.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Kenneth. Please don't go away. I know we will have to take you off the screen, but people may talk about it, and we will want to have you back just in another 10 minutes so that you can put a final touch through the things people will be asking. But start thinking about this. This one came in from a Nigerian. The Nigerian constitution states clearly that if one parent is a Nigerian, then that person can claim Nigerian citizenship irrespective of which country they were born. So start taking all this into consideration, and we just have to move on. Please call the number on the screen if you want to register or you want to have a discussion about it. Let us know, and we will pass it on to Honorable Kenneth Gbandi. And if not, whatever side of it we want to hear from you, you can email us. We'll pass on the email. Yes, Ottoman.
Yeah, I want to talk about accountability, because this kind of project from experience, I was involved many in early 70s in student unionism, and it has always been the problem of accountability in terms of money you collect. So when you're looking at $50 in many thousand places, and the cost of insurance of the card is less than $5.
But it's the company, it's the agency that is taking it, not NIDO, or is NIDO Gossin?
And Nigerian getting a good, because you just said it, from 60 to 50. Why you could have also, because the mass production, the more you produce, the cheaper it becomes. So I'm thinking that Nigerians should also be.
You are misunderstanding.
I am not misunderstanding anything. Let me finish.
The company is not producing cards.
Yeah, whatever you are. This is a project that is going to cost Nigerian. That's going to make Nigerian put their hands in their pocket and pay NIDO, because you are the agent. You are the agent, and $50 from million places is a lot of money. How well are you going to account for all this?
Well, I don't know where you get the idea from, but the truth
you told us is $50.
The truth here,
I'm looking at the $50.
$50 is the actual fee is $60 between the vendors, between the vendors and the federal government. We are getting the benefit of the discount from one of the vendors for $50, which is good enough for those who want to do
We have to move on, because I want us to discuss something about these petroleum prices in Nigeria. We don't know where we are. There's a shortage at the moment. Government says it's hoarding. Government is now closing down. I don't know what your takes are, but it's still unfortunate and sad that we are having this coming back to petroleum. What will you say on this petroleum issue? I mean, you can't go to Nigeria now and just buy fuel.
Again, we are faced with a challenge where the government is not coming out to tell us the truth. Government have never told the citizens the truth. It's either half cup full or half empty. The issue of removing subsidy has been on from one regime to the other.
But they said they are not removing it.
They are not removing
the subsidy, no.
We didn't even know there was subsidy.
The subsidy is there. Because we remember
the government is spending over $1 trillion naira a year.
1.6
trillion naira.
Yes.
1 year.
Yeah, but we legally informed that money goes into politics.
Well,
it goes into politics.
Yeah.
2015, 1.6 trillion naira went into politics. And when Buhari came in 2015, he said they were going to remove a subsidy. But former Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, they were calling it a different name, semantics.
So we're paying 1.6 trillion naira for subsidy.
The issue now is this issue of subsidy. The World Bank or IMF have said Nigeria has to remove subsidy from there.
Every sane Nigerian has said remove it because it's where they steal the money.
Yeah, because the subsidy seems to be circulated among the elites, especially those in government,
petrol
and
marketers,
especially in NNPC, and especially those in our borders. Because NNPC has been
because of time.
I think this is another big indictment on governance in Nigeria, and this dated back.
Why do you say governance? Why not government?
Well,
sorry.
October, be open and straightforward. Stop dodging. Stop going.
Now, you see, the issue of subsidy, we need to be honest here.
Yeah, we have to.
Well, if government, I'm a little bit worried if government says we want to remove subsidy. Oh, no, we don't want to remove subsidy, or we want to remove. They need to be clear to the people, because if you remove subsidy, that means you'll be creating a huge, massive hardship for the people, because what it is they paying how much per liter or per gallon?
145.
So once you remove it, it goes higher than that.
Well, we're not sure that
October,
we don't have much. We are not sure of what whether it's subsidy or not. When that's the main problem. I think what we are saying here,
if they're not removing it, the petrol price will have gone up.
Most of these are stolen money. You have 10 seconds.
10 seconds. I think this government about subsidy is dodgy. They are unfaithful.
No, all the governments.
They are faithful.
All the governments
are including the one now. All of them are dodgy, unfaithful, unreliable. And finally, I want to say that for those who are renewing their passports, the new passport with the 10 years booklet is going to be out on the 29th of this month. But at the moment, the booklets have not arrived in the UK. Don't worry.
They never come anyway.
In the UK. But the government is releasing the 10 years booklet on the 29th of April for public
thank you for that. That is very useful.
So those of you trying to renew, is $250 for the new 10 booklet. It's about $250. So it's double the money
exactly. Can you imagine? We need to do a program on the Nigerian embassy and commissions.
That's federal government. That's not federal government. Do you have anything to say? We're going to discuss that next week.
We never agree.
Discuss it.
No, it was the last thing. Okay, that's how far we can go today. We want to thank Honorable Kenneth Gbandi, all the way from Germany, for answering all our questions. I think you've thrown a lot of light. At the end of the day, I don't know whether I should say you decide on whether you are going to get it or not. Well, like Otumba said, and I think I resonate with him, $50 in 1 million places, and we're told we're 22 million outside of Nigeria. $50 in 1 million places, that's $50 million. Somebody is laughing to the bank. Even some money should be donated to Notre Dame. The program is Youdecide. The television station is Ben TV. Well, see you in Netherlands if Naido with this $50 can pay our tickets and our hotel. My name is Shegun Johnson. Until next week, God bless you and God bless Nigeria.